All right, y'all. Chapter 9 of Jeremiah. If my head were a flowing spring, my eyes a fountain of tears, I would weep day and night over the slain of my dear people. Now, this is God saying this. If only I had a traveler's lodging place in the wilderness, I would abandon my people and depart from them. And so basically, because we know that God is huge, right? Like he can hold the earth in the palm of his hand. There's nowhere that he can turn to where he will not see these people. He can turn his back on them. But because God is everywhere, he's saying, if I had a traveler's lodging place in the wilderness where he could hide and nobody could find him. So even if he turned his back on people, we can still see him. But there's nowhere for him to hide. He said, I would abandon my people and depart from them. They wouldn't be able to find him. For they are adulterers, a solemn assembly of treacherous people. They bent their tongues like their bows. Lies and not faithfulness prevail in the land. For they proceed from one evil to another, and they do not take me into account. This is the Lord's declaration. Everyone has to be on guard against his friend. Don't trust any brother, for every brother will certainly deceive, and every friend spreads slander. So this is something I learned this weekend at the women's conference, that one of the speakers said was that God never told us to trust people. Neither did Jesus. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that we are to trust man. We are to love man, but put all of our trust in God. So just keep that in mind. Each one betrays his friend. No one tells the truth. They have taught their tongues to speak lies. They wear themselves out doing wrong. You live in a world of deception. In their deception, they refuse to know me. This is the Lord's declaration. Therefore, this is what the Lord of armies says. I am about to refine them and test them. So cleanse them and test them. For what else can I do because of my dear people? Their tongues are deadly arrows. They speak deception. With his mouth, one speaks peaceably with his friend, but inwardly he sets up an ambush. So the intention, the wicked heart, the evil of the heart, because that's where deception comes from, the heart. Should I not punish them for these things? This is the Lord's declaration. Should I not avenge myself on such a nation as this? And this is not the first time that he said this. He said this multiple times. I will raise weeping and a lament over the mountains, a dirge over the wilderness, grazing land. For they have been so scorched that no one passes through. The sound of cattle is no longer heard. From the birds of the sky to the animals, everything has fled. They have gone away. I will make Jerusalem a heap of rubble, a jackal's den. I will make the cities of Judah a desolation, an uninhabited place. Who is the person wise enough to understand this? Who has the Lord spoken to that he may explain it? Why is the land destroyed and scorched like a wilderness, so no one can pass through? The Lord said, it is because they abandoned my instructions, which I set before them, and did not obey my voice or walk according to it. Instead, they followed the stubbornness of their hearts and followed the Baals, which are gods, as their ancestors taught them. Therefore, this is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says. I'm about to feed this people wormwood, which is bitter, and give them poisonous water to drink. I will scatter them among the nations that they and their ancestors have not known. I will send a sword after them until I have finished them off. And this is why it can't be Israel today, like the country of Israel. Those people, they're not the Israelites that are in the Bible. I hope that y'all know that. Mourning over Judah. This is what the Lord of armies says. Consider and summon the women who mourn. Send for the skillful women, the ones who know how to do it. Let them come quickly to raise a lament over us, so that our eyes may overflow with tears, our eyelids be soaked with weeping. For a sound of lamentation is heard from Zion. How devastated we are. We are greatly ashamed, for we have abandoned the land. Our dwellings have been torn down. Now hear the word of the Lord, you women. Pay attention to the words from his mouth. Teach your daughters a lament and one another a dirge. So teach them to sing mournfully. So a dirge is a song, a lament. For death has climbed through our windows. It has entered our fortresses, cutting off children from the streets, young men from the squares. So this is why they need to do this. Speak as follows. This is what the Lord declares. Human corpse will fall, or corpses will fall like manure on the surface of the field, like newly cut grain after the reaper with no one to gather it. This is what the Lord says. The wise person should not boast in his wisdom. The strong should not boast in his strength. The wealthy should not boast in his wealth. But the one who boasts should boast in this, that he understands and knows me. That I am the Lord, showing faithful love, justice, and righteousness on the earth, for I delight in these things. This is the Lord's declaration. So if you're going to boast, this is what you need to be boasting about. Look, the days are coming. This is the Lord's declaration. When I will punish all the circumcised yet uncircumcised. So they were circumcised, but at the same time, they're not circumcised in their heart. So physically, but not in their heart. Egypt, Judah, Edom, the Ammonites, Moab, and all the inhabitants of the desert who clipped the hair on their temples. All these nations are uncircumcised, and the whole house of Israel is uncircumcised in heart. Yeah.